Hi everyone, my name is Johnson and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today we are discussing treasury bills. And before I can say what treasury bills are or how you can become an investor in them, I just want to say something about government borrowing. And government borrow money for the purposes of funding a budget deficit. And a budget deficit is a situation where you find government's projected expenditure exceeding its projected revenues. So they always end up with a gap that needs to be plugged or covered when they run a budget deficit. And they cover this gap by borrowing money. They can borrow this money locally through what we call domestic borrowing that gives rise to domestic debt, or they can do so through external borrowing that gives rise to external debt or foreign debt. And government can borrow for short-term reasons or even medium-term or long-term reasons. And when they borrow for short-term reasons, they do so using treasury bills. When they borrow for long-term and medium-term reasons, they do so through treasury bonds. And of particular interest today in our discussion is treasury bills. And I just want to say by definition, they're just instruments that are used by government to borrow money for short-term reasons. An example of that short-term reason would be to fund payroll, government's payroll. And I want to say that I want to discuss the case of Kenya here, how T-bills are issued and how you become an investor. And I should begin there where I say you need to have a CDS account for you to be able to invest through T-bills. And this CDS account is open at Central Bank of Kenya. You can walk into any of their offices and say you want to open a CDS account and you'll be helped appropriately. So what is important to note is that to hasten the process, you need to have a ready bank account with a local commercial bank because, as I've said, it will make the process faster. And of course, the normal KYC documents like your national ID, PIN, KRA PIN certificate. You also need a passport photo. I want to say that T-bills in Kenya come in 3 different maturities. The first one is 91-day. Then we have 182-day and 364-day T-bills. You can invest in any maturity or even a multiple of them. You can do either all 3 or any 2 or any single one of them. I also want to say that once you have a CDS account, which I must emphasize here, it's different from the CDS account that is meant for purposes of purchasing and selling of shares, which you open with your brokerage firms. For the case of you being able to purchase and sell government securities, which are treasury bills and treasury bonds, you actually need a government CDS account. And I have told you where to open it from. That is CBK, any of their offices. I also want to say that treasury bills are discount securities, meaning they are issued at a discount. You don't get to pay the full amount you bid, because generally when there are auctions, which I say they are on a weekly basis, if you want to participate and you already have a CDS account, you meet the minimum required investment amount, which is Kenya shillings 100,000. But if you have more, it's okay. But the more over and above the 100,000 comes in multiples of 50. So if you meet those 2 requirements and there is an auction that is ongoing, you can participate through bidding, either as a competitive bidder or a non-competitive bidder. As a competitive bidder, this is where you say the amount you want to bid or to lend to the government, and you also quote a rate that you want to be given. But for non-competitive bidders, they just say the amount they want to lend, but they don't quote a rate. They will take the rate as given. When the auction results are announced, they get to know what the rate was given to them at that point in time. So it's very important to know whether you are participating as a competitive bidder or non-competitive bidder. The advantages of a competitive bidder is that you could quote a higher rate that succeeds, and then you get to get a higher return. The advantages of one of the advantage of a non-competitive bidder is that there is certainty of of your bid going through. You are always successful. When you bid, you know that you will always be successful. Because what government does, it first considers accepts all the non-competitive bids before it can begin considering the non-competitive bids. So what I also want to say is that there is also withholding tax that you get to pay on the discount or the interest you get on treasury bills. And I don't know whether I said this, but treasury bills are discount instruments. They are issued at discount, whereby you pay less than the amount that you bid. So that the difference between what you pay, what we call the purchase price, and the amount you placed as a bid, what we call the face value, and that is the amount that gets paid to your account when your debt matures. That difference, assuming we have 100 as the amount you bid and 92 as the purchase price, the 8,000 is your discount or the interest. And when it's subjected to tax 15%, what you end up getting is the net interest. That is, after they have deducted the withholding tax. And that's what you get to find in your bank account that you provided at the point of opening the CDS account. I also want to say that the advantages of investing in treasury bills, and one is that treasury bills are safe. They get to preserve your capital, and this is because they are issued by a highly creditworthy issuer, who is the government. And in most cases, government securities are default free, because government always honors, or most always honors, its obligation, because especially domestic obligations, because they have the power to print money or raise taxes. So you know when your payment come due, they will actually honor it, because they still want to continue borrowing from you. Another thing is that you get to get diversification benefits, meaning you spread your bets. You don't only get to keep your money in the bank. At least you get another avenue where you even get a higher rate than you get in a normal bank savings account. Yeah, that's it. And thank you very much for taking your time to watch this video and listening. I hope you've learned something, one or two, and you will take steps in becoming, in signing up to become a T-bill investor. And share with a friend. Subscribe to this video if you haven't. Share with a friend so that we can spread this good news. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye.